Hey friends, it's Kate, and welcome to this Yoga for Splits class. So, it doesn't matter if you don't have your splits quite yet. Maybe you do have your splits and you're playing around with them, or maybe you have over splits and you're doing more advanced techniques. These are some of the stretches that helped me to get my splits, maintain them, and move past splits into over splits. So wherever you are in your splits journey, these will help you move further in that direction. Let's go ahead and get splits in. So before we move into any deep stretches, we're gonna build some heat and get some blood pumping into our hips. So we're gonna start off in goddess pose to start to create some heat so that we can safely get into deeper stretches in just a few minutes. So heels in, toes out, and come down to goddess pose. 90-90 with the knees. We're gonna come down, then up, squeeze the glutes, down, up, down, up, down, up, down to 90 degrees and up, down and up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up and down. Stay. We're going to take pulses, playing in this little region right here. Squeeze the glutes to get your body forward in line with your knees as much as possible. And pulse, 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 pulse. I feel it. It's burning. Let's go. Pulse, 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 pulse. Beautiful. Stay low. Pop the right heel. Squeeze the glutes, engage the core. Lower. Pop the left heel. Proud with the shoulders. Sitting up tall. And lower. One more time each side, right? And lower. Left. And lower, sink a little bit deeper, pop both for 5, 4, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the core, 3, 2, and 1, lower and straighten both legs. Woo. Point the toes forward and find a forward fold just to release it. Nice. And we're gonna make our way down to the mat. So let's move into a low lunge on the left side. Left foot forward, right leg behind us. And you can have blocks beside you, or you can rest your hands right on your left thigh. But I want you to move your hips forward in space. So when you focus on your right hip, you're really feeling an opening here. So much we are sitting down and our hips are like our left leg is. They're in flexion and that shortens the psoas. And our right hip right now is an extension which extends the psoas, and it will help us more easily move into our splits posture. So we're going to find some buoyancy here. We're always going to play in our postures first before we find depth. So why don't you pulse here? Never staying at a max stretch. We're always going to play around in that range from like 7 to 9 in terms of intensity. And maybe you reach your left arm over, side body stretch. And maybe you reach your right arm over the opposite side. Maybe you reach your hands up, turn it a little bit into a back bend. And then we'll find some depth here for 5 breaths, for 4, for 3, Nice calm face for 2, for 1. And both hands meet the mat. Shift the hips back in space. Dorsiflex your toes back towards your face. It's going to draw the stretch down your hamstring, down your calf, your Achilles tendon, and the muscles in the bottom of the foot. So come to a long spine, and we'll take pulses deeper here. So pulse, 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 pulse. Shift your hips from side to side. Walk both hands over to the left. Different sensation. Both hands over to the right. And the middle. And we'll find some stillness here. Really long spine. Try not to round with your back. Shine the chest forward. Beautiful. Rebend your front leg. Come back into tabletop. And we'll switch it out. Step your right foot forward. And bring your hands to blocks or your thighs. You can come and start with 90-90s with the knees, and then shift your hips forward in space, stretching through the left side of your hip. So bring your attention to the left hip, that psoas, feel the sensation there, opening, reversing all that sitting that we do. And we'll play around here, so find little pulses going deeper than coming out. We never want to stay at max stretch. That's where injuries occur. So since we're wanting to add in movements and exploration into these postures, you want to take it back a click. So back off 1 so you have this range to move around in. It's also better for the nervous system if you're always right on the brink where your body is saying, we're pretty close to maybe some riskiness, I'm getting triggered, then you're not going to be able to calm down and your body is not going to be able to open up. If we can stay in a place of calmness, focus on the breath, and explore in these ranges, then our body is going to open up easier for us. Reach on over to the right side. Reach to the left. And we'll hold upright for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shift the hips back in space, half splits. Flex your toes back towards your face. And we'll take pulses here, going a little bit deeper. Coming out, then going deeper. So pulse, 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 pulse. These can be little micro movements. Pulse, pulse, pulse. And then shift your hips from right to left. Nice. Then crawl both hands over to the the right side. Doesn't really matter. We're going to be doing both. Then to the other side. Then to the center, and we'll find a little depth here and a little stillness. Nice. Rebend your front leg. Bring it to the side of your mat, and we're going to step our left foot up. Nice. Sink your hips low into Yogi Squat Malasana. And play around here. So maybe you lift one heel and shift your weight. Just getting deep into the inner thighs, the groin, the hamstrings. Maybe you reach your hand forwards to send your hips back in space. Maybe you spiral and take a twist, reaching one hand up, and then the other. And then we'll take a few rounds of coming into this yogi squat, and then straightening both of our legs. Hip bones reach towards the sky, chest reaches towards the ground, so pull it in gently. And then dip your hips, squat. We'll do 10 of those. That's 1, 2. We're not moving fast, we're moving with our breath. So exhale to forward fold. Inhale, squat for 3. For 4. For 5. Halfway. For 6. Pull it in your forward fold. For 7. For 8. 2 more. For 9. For 10. Beautiful. Step your left foot back onto the mat, toes pointed forward, and step your right foot back, coming into lizard pose. Tuck the back toe so we can find some buoyancy here and shift forward and back, forward and back, and maybe you straighten, then bend. Straighten and bend. Straighten and bend. Straighten and bend. And maybe you step one foot up then the other, or you can just swivel all the way around, face the back of your mat, and we'll do it on the other side. So right foot is forward, left foot is back. Tuck the back toe, swivel back and forth, forward and back, forward and back, forward and back. Maybe you straighten and bend and straighten and bend, straighten and bend. Nice. If you're facing the back of your mat, and swivel around to face the front end. Since you will have your right foot forward, or if you have your left foot forward because we swiveled, just take your right foot forward, and we are going to move into our front splits. So walk your left foot forward, or you can walk your back foot back. I prefer to walk my back foot back because I'm tall and I like my front foot to stay on the mat. Actually, that's not true. I prefer my back foot to be on the mat. I think it differs by day. So when you're in the splits, or wherever you are in the splits, support yourself first. And I often, on this side, I will start with a block. I'll take a few breaths here. And I'll maintain very good posture. So I'll try to keep both of my hip bones pointing forward. And I'll try to keep my very long, deep breaths. And then eventually I'll move out the block. Keep a neutral face here. If you are getting really hot, or you're starting to feel sensations that are not just like a deep stretch, maybe they're painful, and come out a little bit. Start to bend your front leg, bend your back leg. And if you have the splits here, then dip your chest forward. And maybe you come up. Dip your chest forward and come up. Dip your chest forward and come up. Or maybe you roll your hips from side to side. Nice. Start to walk your left foot back. Come into that tabletop position. I do a little wiggle. Feels good in my hips. And then we'll take our right foot forward. Our left foot forward. We gotta switch it out. We want to be even. So crawling your right foot, sides are hard. Your left foot forward in space. Sides will be different. Maybe this is your stronger side that you can go deeper on, or maybe this is your less flexible side, and that's totally fine. Bring a little softness to it, bring a little grace to it. For me, this is my deeper side because I injured my other side a few years ago, and it just can't ever quite catch up. So, relax your face. Slow your breathing. If you're using a block, know that you can keep it there the entire time. Or maybe when you feel a little bit more calm and your body's opened up a little bit, maybe you could take it out. If you have your splits, try with no hands, or maybe with hands, to dip your chest forward, folding over your front leg, and then come up. Dip your chest forward, and then come up, and forward, and up. And maybe you roll to the right, and to the left, and to the right, and to the left. Beautiful. A few more breaths here. Nice. Walk your right foot, your left, sides are hard, your left foot back in space. We'll take one more variation, straddle. So come to sit long ways on your mat, facing the long edge. And come into a straddle, opening your legs wide. And we're just gonna fold forward onto our elbows if you can, or if you can full pancake it, that's great. But wherever you are, just shine your chest forward. Bring your hip bones up towards the sky so you're in an anterior pelvic tilt, not rounding our back, but reaching our hip bones up as we walk our chest towards the ground. Five more breaths here. Beautiful. Help your knees to bend and bring your legs together. We just did a whole bunch of deep hip openers. Take your bottom of the feet to the mat. We'll do some windshield wipers to just release our hips. So dropping our knees from one side to the other. Nice. And a really great final pose here, if you want to take a little rest, is to come down to your back and then let your knees come together. It really helps to kind of recover the areas that we just stretched out. So come back to this class as much as possible. The more that you can move through postures like these, the more you're going to move in the direction of your splits. If you're feeling very stretched out, take a day off and then come back. I hope to see you on the mat soon, and please check the description for tons of other splits classes and a whole bunch of different lengths and styles. I will see you on the mat soon.